Hi, Rashmi. Thank you so much for joining us in the Safety Connect podcast today.
Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I was really looking forward to our conversation, and I know we've had lengthy interactions in the past before, and um, I really wanted people to be able to hear about your story. And it's very interesting to learn about your professional career because you have more than 17 years of experience as a safety professional, working in companies like Shell and L'Oreal, and currently the general manager of health and safety at Schindler. So, looking forward to this, and I think there's nobody better who can talk about safety leadership than you. So, yeah, before we get into the aspects of safety leadership and all of that, would love to know what got you into safety.
Thanks, Tanmay. Interesting. Um, it all started off when I initially started off my career as an intern in one of the organizations, and that's where I learned the criticality of dealing with safety of people. While we were in manufacturing setup, working a lot on equipments, and likewise, however, there was always an element of safety engraved in the work culture. It was essential to ensure safety of those people who work for the organization, and that's how an organization grows, and it takes it forward from there. If you care for people, if you ensure their safety, they would love to work with you, they'll stay with you, and then organization would grow. So that was the piece that really hit me hard and got me going into this field. So I am really feeling privileged today that I'm a part of this journey, a culture building journey in the organization. And yeah, that's about it. That's how I got into this.
I think that safety is so important because the initiatives that are taken by safety professionals is something which impacts the lives and the families of the people who are also working there. And
Absolutely.
the safety professionals, they have to know a lot about a lot of things, right? So so I think that is something that really stands out whenever I speak to any safety professional, any good safety professional. They are very knowledgeable about their subject, and then they also are very good when it comes to understanding people behaviors,
Yeah.
the emotions behind that, what really drives people, what motivates people. So I think this is such a interesting field to get into. And do you see that? What are your thoughts in terms of like the split, like men, women in safety? Right? What is your thought around that? Do you see more women now getting into safety?
Interesting again, Tanmay. Just to kind of on a lighter note, I guess you've got the element of safety in you, and you could also try your luck in this profession. When you say that safety professionals understand people well, I mean they try to indeed. So yes, that's what you need to become a safety professional. You should be compassionate, and you should be able to empathize with what one is going through during the daily course routine, the work, whether it is a workshop or it's a shop floor or it's a manufacturing setup or a factory on road sites, wherever. You should be able to put yourself into the shoes of that person and be able to understand the risks that the person entails while doing the job. And that's what makes you a safety professional. While talking about the dichotomy in the society of being a man or a woman getting into this profession, yes, you are right that these days we see more women or a female gender diverse candidate coming in. I guess it started off. It started off. I mean, I don't want to sound gender biased or something, but I have felt that this profession earlier did not have so many women. Maybe because of the dynamics of the role. Uh, there are times when a female candidate would not want to be placed in a factory kind of environment, or considering the travel involved. So there could be multiple factors. However, now there has been a paradigm shift. Organizations have been calling out to look for diverse talents. I'm not only emphasizing that they are calling in women, but they are all calling in with calling in diverse candidates to come into this profession and add value to the organization. And they make the environment so conducive and adaptive for us that it becomes easier. I mean, you take up the role and you just start delivering, and you are the best in your role then. So yeah, I mean, that dichotomy or that shade of black and white is not existing anymore. It's a perfect blend and a mix of people who have come in into safety profession now, and I'm confident that all of them are doing really good. So yeah.
Got it. And also, when when it comes to safety, you've the companies that you've been with, I'm sure you've also dealt with some fantastic safety leaders, right? Who may have even built that entire safety culture from scratch, or like significantly enhanced it. So, what are
Yes.
those key attributes or characteristics of um, for one to be a very good safety leader?
Right. Tanmay, again, I would reiterate the same thing that becoming a safety leader or leader in that space, so to call for it, you need to be compassionate and you need to understand the needs of a person, the needs of a team, and what is the organization expecting. Yeah, and bringing in a mix or the best mix or the blend of all these elements together. Yeah, a leader cannot be bossy always, or a leader cannot be dictating always. While being assertive is one of the attributes of leaders, you have to be assertive all the times. However, that is not the only attribute that makes you a good leader. When it comes to especially safety leader is again an add-on. I mean, you have to be compassionate, you have to understand, empathize what the person or the organization is going through, what is the need of the business at that particular hour. So you have to bring a blend between, or a perfect marriage between the business requirements and how are the people going to meet those requirements. So again, a leader is somebody who takes the team along. You empower people who are working for you to do a good job. That's what a leader is all about. And again, being a safety leader, you empower people, you train their eyes to look for the risks that they are going to entail in their work lives. Yeah, so that's how a safety leader can bring the best out of the team. So you have to bring the team along together and grow with the team. So you have to go, if you have to go a long way, you have to go with the team. Yeah, so that's what a leader is all about, and that's what I have learned from my leaders in the past.
Do you see that because the people entering the workforce now, Gen Z folks, do you think there's a different leadership style required to deal with them and influence them?
um yes or a no. Yes, because maybe there could be a difference in understanding or the way they take or deliver the work. So there has to be a platform where you understand. So uh, I should be able to explain what is the expectation to this generation, and the generation should be able to commit to the requirements of this position. Yeah, no, because it's all about work. I mean, I'm sure they would be coming with an understanding that if you're coming to a corporate organization, a corporate life, or you're coming to work, these are the protocols that you need to follow, the decorum of the organization. So, in those sense, it's a no, because there won't be any difference. The person would come as a recipient of a work, and you align, you have alignment meetings, you discuss, you understand, align on the end goals, the methodology, the way you are going to progress. And that's how, I mean, it's just about open communication. The more you communicate, the more you make yourself transparent and comprehensive, it becomes easier to deal with any kind of people. That's what I believe in.
That's true. So Rashmi, people who are also listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, they could be safety professionals in companies which are just building out their safety culture, right? It may not be a MNC where there are maybe global guidelines and so on and so forth. And in that situation, when a safety professional is trying to implement something, and maybe the some leader in the company of a particular department is not maybe adhering to those safety norms, right? In those situations, what would be the right thing for that safety professional to do? And so basically, how should he or her handle that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because that's a dilemma that anyone can face at any point in time. Now we really need to kind of break this problem statement into a couple of scenarios. Tanmay, first of all, we really need to understand as to why a person behaving. I mean, if the person is not adhering to a particular protocol or some procedure, or likewise, we really need to understand. See, safety is not about zero or one. Okay, it's not binary. So we really need to understand before concluding, oh, the person is not compliant. No. Why is the person not understanding or adhering? Is there a challenge? Is there a support that we can provide? Then come to terms, understand and have the communication. That's the second part of the problem statement. Are you having an open communication? Do you have those forums where you engage? The third part to it is, did you plan all these things in advance? Safety cannot happen overnight or a day. It requires planning. That's why we say that safety has to be engraved in your procedure or your annual plan, calendar, where you are able to demonstrate that it is a part of your culture. You are not doing it because you have been asked as a compliance requirement. You do it because that's a part of your culture. So the third rung of this problem statement is whether this was already aligned in the past, whether we had planned for it. And then the last could be, okay, now that I have understood that so and so would be the reason a person is not complying, then let's address that. Maybe the person needs a little bit of more understanding, training, exposure, or probably a demonstration of what could go wrong if we don't adhere to this. And I'm sure nobody would like to jeopardize the life of anyone working for the organization. So I'm sure there is always a solution. It's just that you need to have proper planning and open communication. That should help in this scenario, is what I believe.
Understood. Got
Yeah.
it. This actually reminded me of AI and today how a lot of companies are, they may not be like using a lot of AI, but they say that they're AI powered, you know? So AI is being sprinkled upon a lot of companies and products today. So like the way safety cannot be sprinkled upon a large company, it has to be really ingrained into that company as part of every process. And
Yeah.
as you rightly said, if it's well baked in, there is no reason for them not to other to it. And it should not be like, okay, they've done everything and then they think of safety. It should kind of be so, and the user experience of safety has to be so integrated that they don't even realize that, okay, but I'm already doing it. So that's an interesting dimension that you brought out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And what is your approach to when people make mistakes in the workplace? So how does one deal with that?
I can very well relate it to my own self. I would not say I'm a perfect safety professional. I have also made mistakes in the past and I have learned from them. I continue to make mistakes, and that's how I think we learn. All of us learn, and mistakes are, an important and integral part of your learning curve. Yeah, and every leader or a manager who's responsible for a team or manages a set of people must always appreciate the fact that a person would come with diverse thoughts, way of working, maybe a different kind of a thought process behind something. Yeah, so we are all humans, we aren't infallible, we are liable to make mistakes, right? It's just that how do you accommodate and learn from it, instead of you know uh, putting a finger pointing a finger at someone or putting the blame across, giving passing on the hat onto someone. It's important to understand why did it happen. I know there are times when repercussions could be so severe that it becomes really overwhelming to kind of do away, I mean, forgive someone. However, we still have to be calm at that point in time and understand why it happened, right? A responsible, a mature adult employee of an organization would always be, will not do anything deliberately just because the person disregards a certain protocol of the organization. I'm sure there are hidden causes, something that is underneath the sea surface, the lower part of the iceberg that goes unnoticed. So probably those are the causes that could lead to mistakes. We have to be accommodating, take the accountability of, yes, the mistake has happened, I appreciate, acknowledge that, and we will work on it. Take the accountability, stand for the team, or stand for your own self. Only then you will grow. If we shy away, or we take these mistakes as hindrances, no, then I think it will be difficult to grow. Not that you won't grow, but then it will become really difficult and overwhelming as to how do you take the step ahead. So use them as stepping stones. However, there has to be a time frame that you need to give to yourself as to by when do you think you will be ready to deliver something. And then gradually, with time progressing, the number of mistakes occurring in your work should lessen. You cannot keep continuing the mistakes that you have done in the past in the future as well. Use them as your stepping stone, use them to learn and then grow. and make a difference to the organization. So mistakes will and always be a part of your work life. You cannot do away with them. We are all humans.
Yeah. And I think that also a lot of safety professionals, because of how important this role is, they need to also carve out some time to be able to think about what could potentially go wrong, right? Like,
Absolutely.
like put themselves in various scenarios, also think about different permutation combinations, think about what other technologies needs to be put in place. But also sometimes when I do interact with a lot of safety professionals, they're always very busy, right? And so how should one like balance that out, right? The balance between being busy in whatever you need to complete, maybe audits and so on and so forth, and also being able to carve that time out to think about what next, right? What
Hmm.
could go wrong and what enhancements can be done. So any thoughts on that and how safety professionals could structure their activities in such a way that they're addressing today's needs as well as the future's needs?
Brilliant, Tanmay. A brilliant point, I must say. However, you know what? When you say these safety professionals are busy, they are actually busy delivering the task of today as well as planning for future. You know, um, for safety professionals, there is no clear bifurcation of a today or tomorrow. You know, whatever we are doing are sowing the seeds for tomorrow. So it's like we do some things today for a better tomorrow, right? So while we are doing, it's like on job training, you know. Organizations cannot always afford to have us give us 6 months of time to get trained and then you start delivering or go for your regular job, your role. Yeah, it's on job training, which means you learn while you are doing the job. And that's how safety professionals work, right? We are delivering, and while we are delivering we also learn what can we do better so that tomorrow is also secured, right? So actually there might not always be a requirement to carve out a separate time to plan for a tomorrow. However, if at all there is a need, then there is always a period, a cooling period in any organization, which is around, you know, beginning of the year, where we actually sit together to discuss as to what we want to do in the coming months, and how the plan should look like. And this worked well, this did not work so well, so what can we do to make things work better? So that is the phase that one can utilize. And one more important thing is, as a safety professional, I would like to advocate that we should keep reading, and we should keep ourselves updated with what is happening around us. Yeah, let's not stay in the shell or a cocoon of our own role. There is a lot of knowledge out there. So while you are working, while you are traveling on the go, take out time to read and get to know about your surroundings and environment, and then that will help you make things better for future, for a tomorrow. So that is probably that one can do. Other than that, I strongly believe and have been practicing that, because usually I also do not get too much of time to kind of do things, keep things aside, do this and that. Why we are multitasking most of the time. However, this is how I give myself the time when I'm traveling, or probably when I'm talking to my colleagues. So during the, regular discussions, we also discuss about a couple of things that can add to our knowledge. So it happens in parallel, Tanmay. I mean, not necessarily that you have to carve out a separate time.
Understood. And what are your go-to resources to make sure that you are kind of like in sync with what is the latest developments? Anything that you could recommend to people?
There is a lot of, I mean, you can be a member of various, organizations. I would not call out names in this podcast, because I really want to leave it to individuals to kind of decide. However, there are a lot of organizations where, who conduct learning events, trainings. I have been a trained professional from NEBOSH. I have done a course from NEBOSH. They provide a very good material to, kind of read. And then the best is to kind of go and talk to your colleagues around you, the experienced ones, or the ones who have joined newly. You will get different perspective of how to deal with things. In my case, I go to my manager and my colleagues around. They have been really supportive. They give you perspective of what's happening in the industry or in the organization. And then stay connected with, there are various forums. I am in those platforms where there are a lot of women in these EHS forums. Then there are people who have kind of formulated a group where they keep posting these information about what is happening latest in the industry. So be a part of those forums, go out, reach out, ask for help. So one go to thing is your own mindset. Train your mind to reach out to people to ask for help, and that will give you the best learning curve and you will grow. So that's how I can summarize, if at all that helps.
No, absolutely. And one thing that we don't do much of is asking, right?
Yeah.
Like even reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, asking them to mentor you. There are so many people who are out there who would love to do that. Even people who have maybe just retired, or even if they're a very senior person, they would love to give back or pay it forward. But the thing is, it's just that people don't ask, right?
Don't
So
ask.
I think people should
Absolutely.
get a little out of their comfort zone and ask, because if you don't ask, you don't get, right? So
Exactly. So we have to train our mindset. Usually, asking is not about feeling weak or, oh, I don't know something and that's why. No, asking shows that you are strong. You are strong enough to go and ask for help. You want to know, you want to acknowledge someone for their knowledge. And that's important. And the other piece to this is mentorship. You be a mentee to someone or you be a mentor to someone. And the exchange, the transaction of thoughts that happens is just awesome. So keep mentoring people or be a mentee to someone, and then you will see your life will change. The entire perspective of looking at things will change.
also, as a mentee, you also have the responsibility to kind of do your bit in terms of research and coming up with different ideas, creative ideas. It's not that you can just go to them and then through a remote control everything comes in place. No, but it should also be stimulating for the mentor to be engaging with that mentee. So I think it takes a
Absolutely.
lot of work from the mentee also to be able to derive value and asking the right questions also, right?
Absolutely.
You don't
Absolutely.
ask the right questions, then it doesn't lead to much either.
Yes, yes, of course.
And Rashmi, you mentioned about compassion and empathy, right? Like that's an important attribute to have as a safety professional. Now, in case somebody is setting up a safety function and they have some safety professionals who they've gotten on the team, and maybe this aspect of empathy and compassion is something which is lacking, right?
Mhm.
How do you infuse more of that into the team?
I have seen that practically happening in Tanmay, and that's not wrong. I mean, every individual is different, and that's why all of us are unique. Compassion and empathy would have different definitions for people around. We just have to be accommodating and give the person time, and keep doing what you are doing, and that will eventually make the person realize that if something is working for me and the same thing is not working for the other person, then the person would be wise enough to understand what is the gap that's there in terms of communication. Yeah. um, I have seen people responding to me where I found a person more empathetic and the other person not so much. Yeah, however, I mean, you cannot blame, and it's all about exposure, it's all about the environment that you have been groomed in, or it's also about personal choice, right? If I have gone through a difficult phase, I would personally choose to be a guiding star to the person who's going through a probably same or similar phase, right? So if at all, coming back to your question, that it is lacking in someone, then give the person time. Instead of being judgmental, give the person time and try to understand as to what would it take for the person to be more compassionate and empathetic. Yeah. And then when it is the right time, when you think the person is accommodating enough to have an open conversation, have that open conversation. It always helps. At least it has helped for me. I have faced a couple of scenarios where I was like, why is the person not able to understand? And then you try to kind of research or probably try to give yourself that cooling time. Okay, the person might not have gone through XYZ scenarios, and hence he or she is not able to comprehend the way it should be. And then go for the open conversation. request for time, that I want to sit with you, I want to have a little coffee conversation with you, and then discuss. I strongly believe that a good, open, transparent communication is a solution to this problem. It will definitely help. And you know what, then may you cannot expect a personality change overnight. A person would take time to kind of change, become the way it is expected to be. However, the person would not be the one you want the person to be, right? The person would always have a definition of his or her own personality. However, there will always, the person would be ready to imbibe that element of compassion and empathy as you want the person to have it. Don't expect ki baba the person will become the way you want, a mirror image of yours. No, it doesn't happen. Every human being is different. But then definitely you can imbibe, or you can inculcate, or you can grow that, sow that seed of empathy and compassion with open communication, transparent, and try and understand, give the person time, listen more than being judgmental. And it really helps. At least it has worked for me.
Got it. And also one aspect that I've noticed, right, while having certain open and clear, transparent conversations with people is this sandwich method, right? Like you start with
Yep.
something positive, then bring out that news, and then end with something positive again.
Yes.
So that way it kind of like softens it without losing the essence of that message.
Absolutely. I mean, we will have to be appreciative, and that's what we follow in our profession. We when it's a kind of sandwich feedback model where you appreciate the person for all the good things that he or she has done, and then you bring out the areas of improvement, because we don't want to call it gaps or lowlights. We want to bring about the areas of improvements, and then you again thank the person or appreciate for whatever the person has done so far, and you can see the potential. So always give that ray of hope, give that positivity into the minds of people, that yes, you are doing good and you can be better from here. That positivity will force the person to be empathetic and compassionate to the other person he or she faces. So it kind of goes in a chain reaction. So that's how one can change someone's behavior, is what I believe.
Right. And have there been certain pivotal moments in your career which have really helped shape you as a safety professional?
Yeah. Pivotal moments, I can recollect. Well, there have been instances in the past where, when I started off my career in safety, my belief was that I'm a safety professional. I know everything about safety, and things should happen the way I want them to. If I say something, it should better happen because I am a safety professional. I know everything. You know that that did not go well. I mean, that was steep slope down. I mean, that's not how safety works. That's not how you are able to kind of amalgamate things into the work life. So that was, when this happened, I had my colleague with me around, my ex colleague, who was my mentor and who's still my mentor, and he is the one who actually guided me and helped me understand how typically a person should be working in the organizational space. If it goes along with everyone, safety or any other function, so to speak, you have to you have to align with people around you. You need to have allies in the organization. You need to have those stakeholders who believe in what is to be done. The dialogue, the tonality of the dialogue should not be, this is the way it should happen. The tonality should be, if it is done this way, I think we will be doing better, or we will be keeping people safe. So give them the alternatives, show them the other side of the fence, right? And then they will be able to buy in. Until unless you have that buy-in from your stakeholders, from people around you, from the team you handle, or from your colleagues, peers, you will not be able to grow as a safety professional. So alignment, buy-in, transparent communication, and regular feedback sessions are the key elements of growing as a safety professional. Otherwise, it will be really difficult to kind of get along in this, especially in this profession. It is a softer profession where you don't bring in numbers, right? I mean, you don't do sales for somebody. However, you ensure safety of those people who bring in sales for you, right? So imagine what a business person would be going through, the pressure. So you have to bring in the elements that amalgamate into the person's work life, and hence you join hands and get on this journey together. So I believe that was one moment where I realized where I'm going wrong, and it is not the way to progress. And that's how, it brought a change in the way I think about safety, or in the way I think about myself. And here I am. I think I have done pretty well from there. Yeah, quite a
Absolutely.
journey so far.
No, but thanks for sharing that, because not too many people would actually talk about these things, because and it's an important aspect, and yeah, taking everybody along.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
absolutely. Yes.
Any other moments that kind of like stand out apart from this?
Um, right. So let me take the element of diversity, probably, if that could change the mindset of people. There are times when and you enter into a safety profession and you are the gender diversity candidate, where you see the other side of the gender dominating the society, and then you get into the self doubt mode, right? You try to kind of hide, or you try to kind of shy away, self doubt, and you think maybe you may or may not be able to do certain things. So there was a time when I started feeling that ways. I started feeling that I'm not being taken seriously, or I'm not able to grow because I am a gender diversity candidate. People don't listen to me. They don't take me seriously because I am so and so, right? That was my that was the moment, that was the cocoon that I started living in. And again, this colleague of mine and few friends around and my spouse and everybody, I kind of reached out to everyone as to what is happening, why am I not able to succeed, what is going wrong. And these are the people who gave me the other side. They are all males, and they gave me that other side of the picture. They said that you have to give yourself time, and you have to let yourself get heard, you know and you have to make that space for you. And don't there's a very famous quote which says that don't go into the room projecting as if you rule the world. You get into the room and feeling that you don't care who rules the world, right? You are here to put your point. You are here to state what you want to do and hear people, and then get along, right? I didn't necessarily have to prove myself all the while. I kept doing that in my mind, right? I didn't have to. So that is one thing that one must be careful of, that you reach out to people, hear them, hear the other side of the story, and then you understand that it's not about proving, it's not about validation. It's just about understanding various aspects. There will always be ups and downs in professional life. I will not be successful all the time. I will have my own downfall. I'll learn and then succeed. That's how a corporate life is, or a work life is. But then those ups and downs must take you to a point where you call yourself a learned one, the enlightened one, who is able to see all the aspects holistically, learn from them and go along. Yeah. So that's again one important thing, that you don't have to kind of keep proving yourself in your mind that I am good, I am the best, why are people doubting. These are the questions in your mind. Probably the person in front doesn't even care, doesn't he or she is not even thinking that ways. So the better words you choose for your own self, the way you talk to your own self, inner self, is the way things are going to reflect or manifest for you. So yeah, this was again another moment that actually gave me a pause. I took a step back, took a deep breath, and tried to understand as to why am I trying to prove myself always. That's not needed. Just do the job, that's it. So yeah,
The job
that's it.
will speak for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
So, what's the one message you want to leave people with?
Well, to stay happy, live and let live. This life is really short. Make the most of every moment that you have, and be proud of what you are doing. You are the best. I mean, you are the best version of your own self. Like I'm very fond of Sushmita Sen, where she said that you don't have to be the best, you have to be a better version of yourself each day. And that's what I believe in. I mean, I don't want to come to office proving that I am the best. You have hired the best safety professional around. No, I come with a commitment that I will be the better version of myself today, and I will give my best today. Yeah, in my mind, I do not have a competition with any of my colleagues or anyone around. I'm here to do my job, and if that requires me to reach out to my colleagues, I am not going to shy away from that fact. So the only message is stay happy, just do the good job that you are doing today, and be the best version of yourself, and that's it. Life will manifest, good things will happen.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for joining us on the Safety Connect podcast. This was amazing, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you. Privilege is all mine. Thank you. Bye bye.